Welcome back to the Connected Spirit podcast. Today, I am honored to introduce Sunny Dawn Johnston, who is a globally recognized spiritual teacher, celebrated author, and transformational visionary. With over 25 years of experience guiding others to heal, grow, and rise into their highest selves, she is the CEO and founder of School of Light, a sacred space for those who are ready to reconnect with their soul, reclaim their self, and step into service. And through Sunny's decades of heart-based work, she's helped tens of thousands of people learn how to live from the inside out, cultivating intuition, shifting mindsets, and embracing the light that they were born to embody. And her message is grounded in truth, compassion, and fierce authenticity. I love that. She's walked the path of healing, self-love, overgiving, and burnout, and now leads from lived experience and unwavering purpose. She's appeared on numerous television, radio, and podcast platforms, including Lifetime, Gaia, Fox, and Coast to Coast AM. Sunny, I mean, your credentials just go on and on.
That's good.
Girl, you've got it all.
No.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm a Shift affiliate partner, and I was promoting your course, Messages from Angels in the Afterlife. And it really resonated with me because there's something that actually matches in your bio. Like, you are very authentic. You are straight goods to the point. It's loving, but it's not like a lot of this, I want to say, like spiritual fluff. There's
Yeah.
meat, there's substance to that. Where does that embodiment, where does that strength and that conviction for your work come from?
I think it comes from having to have a thick skin and some grit, having done this for so many years. I started at a young age as an early teenager in developing these skills and starting communicating with angels at the age of 13, and it was not the norm. And for sure was questioned. Maybe people thought I was a little nuts, all the things that happen. And so I think, I don't really like to play the bullshit game and act like things are. I also don't like to play the victim role of, oh my gosh, it was this fault or that fault. It's just, life is what it is. We all get dealt some cards, and then it's what we make it. And so, being real and being grounded and being centered and being loving and kind, those can come together, I think.
The challenge with our spiritual abilities isn't actually our intuition, it's our energy. Can you kind of unpack what that means and how it's showing up for people who are trying to connect with spirit, connect with their angels?
I think that so many people, their energy is so scattered, and it's so easy to do, with these devices, like
Yeah.
there's so many dings and notifications and things like that our energy is so scattered that, like, how on earth would you pay attention? How would you be able to receive those messages if you are, listening to this and then talking about that and then having this experience, trying to run a business, maintain your family, do all the things? What it really comes down to is everybody's intuitive. If you're a spirit in a body, you have intuition. It's that, do you access it? Do
Mm.
you take the time? Do you create the space? Can you consciously and intentionally pull your energy in so that you're not so scattered in all the places, so that you own your energy and take a responsibility in stepping into the knowing that we have within us? And so often we feel disconnected, not because spirit isn't here, not because we can't tap into our intuition, but because we're disconnected. We've checked out. We're so in the human realm that we forgot about this whole other aspect of us
Mm.
that is, like, to me, kind of the most important.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we see this more and more. People are coming into spiritual work. They're either having an awakening or maybe they've been aware of the other world, the unseen world since they were young. They decide, hey, I'm going to start doing this work. But then they realize, oh, maybe there's some personal development that needs to get looked at. It's not that spirit isn't coming close. It's not even that they're worthy. It's that they're going through their own inner healing or have some shadow work that they need to do. And sometimes it's easier to point the finger somewhere else than going, okay, maybe I need to slow down and have more presence. And in a lot of your teachings, you talk about this energetic presence, that it's really this true foundation for spirit communication. How did you first come to that understanding? Because there's people that I know personally that I look up to who've been doing this for decades. And that seems to sometimes, and this isn't a judgment, it's just an observation, but that seems to be missing.
I think that's part of it. I've done a lot of work over the years, personal development for the last 40 something years that I've been in this field and working in it professionally for 26. And I think that having had the career that I've had and spoken on stages all over the world and all of these things, I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of people that talk one thing and walk another way. And that feels, again, not judgment, but for sure I'm aware of it and it feels out of alignment to me, but it also taught me how important integrity is, and to that I wanted to be a person that actually did walk my talk, and that I wanted to be present and I wanted to be aware. And I think that presence is what creates a foundation for that connection to spirit. And when we're distracted by all the bells and whistles and things like that, we can't be present. And there are a lot of people who have great information. There's books. I love books. So I have books all around me that have written amazing books. They can be really amazing people, but they don't necessarily do what they wrote. Right.
Mm.
And that's starting to come to light in other areas of life nowadays.
Yeah.
And I witnessed that. And so in my journey of, starting out very young and then kind of just watching what people were doing, I recognized that that energetic presence is so critical to our health, our well-being, especially as a psychic medium. You're a psychic medium, you know that taking care of your body is one of the most important things because it's our greatest oracle. It's where all this information is coming through. And if we don't have the body, well, we don't need to be here. Like we can do all this without a body, right? But integrate. We're here to come into the body. And
Mhm.
so our spirit isn't like trying to struggle to get to us. It's that we struggle to get to it because we're not present, because we're not paying enough attention. And again, this isn't a judgment in right and wrong. At different seasons in life, it's certainly harder. It was much harder for me when I was raising my kids
Yeah.
than it is now as a grandmother and having more space, right? But I do think that it's important that if your viewers and your listeners are wanting to really expand their abilities and want to tap in more to their intuitive abilities, their loved ones in spirit, their guides, the ascended masters, then the key, another one, is you have to be in present moment, because spirit doesn't speak in the past and spirit doesn't speak in the future. The only moment we have is right now. So this is where it happens. And so if I'm distracted, I just miss it. And it's not right or wrong, good or bad. It just is, you know?
We're seeing lots of intuitives that are, and when I say intuitives, healers, psychic mediums, healers, all of it, right? Their energy is scattered, it's overstimulated, like you were talking about with the cell phone, social media, internet access. Like there's so many things that are vying for our attention, and being sensitives that can dysregulate our nervous system and affect us and our ability to be grounded and really present with ourselves and those in our spirit team. Do you find that there are common blocks to why some mediums, intuitives allow? I want to say it's not a judgment, but I'll just say sometimes we're not staying present, and it's a choice.
Mm-hmm. I
Just
agree.
just gonna own it. It is a
Yeah.
choice.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think that is? Is it a lack of training, discipline, in your opinion?
I think it's exhaustion.
Oh,
Sometimes we're just it's sensitive people are so sensitive to so many things that oftentimes they just check out, and they check out through the distractions. So the choice is, okay, yes, I can stay present and I can do my work, or I can go watch 5 Netflix shows. It's just that it isn't in alignment with maybe what the goal is. So, if I say, okay, I really want to A, B, C, and D, then I have to do the things to get me to A, B, C, and D. And if I don't, I can't say, oh, well, but, Netflix just jumped on the TV and took over my screen. Like I'm making that choice. And sometimes when you're overwhelmed, when you're exhausted, when your nervous system is crashed and you aren't taking care of it, then I think oftentimes you can't do any more than that until you make a decision. You have to make a choice. They're not easy choices, because when you're sensitive, sometimes it feels like you don't have the control, right? Like, okay, I'm going to walk in this room and all these people are going to be there, and they're all their different places, and I'm going to absorb all the energy. It's going to be so exhausting, so I might as well just not even do it. And I think that we forget our power, because we have the ability to manage and maintain our own energy. We have the ability, if we learn, and sometimes there is some learning for sure that's involved in this, but we have the ability to hold our energy. It's hard to do sometimes. And so I think people give up because it's just too hard. And what I believe is what happens then is that too hard becomes too hard, becomes too hard. And then it's so far away from you that now you've got probably some sickness or some illness that you're dealing with, right? There's not a lot of people that do this for as long as I've done it. So I've been in the field for 42 years and professionally for 26. People burn out. They get overwhelmed, they get sick, and they then go back into a regular job because it's hard to hold energy and stay in alignment and be in integrity. And that doesn't mean that, we make, of course, we make mistakes, and we grow and we learn and all those things, but it's a very committed, and you have to be grounded and you have to be in your body. You can't escape it. Believe me, I've tried. If there was a way that you could do it and stay in alignment, I think I would have found it by now. It's hard, and
Yeah.
it's part of why we're here, I think.
Absolutely. I find too, just from my own sanctuary and my own community, watching people, I find with spirituality, it's this remembrance of self, but sadly, some people use it as escapism. And then we get this imbalance of what spirituality is all about and incorporating the human and the spiritual. And we've got these people that venture on the path, take a course, but there's no longevity in it because there's no
Right.
balance. And I mean, been there, done that, bumper, sticker, t-shirt, burnout,
Yeah,
done
all
all
the
of that.
things.
But then you got to remember it's like being focused and in alignment with spirit and allowing that connection to ground you and be really focused on where you need to be. And it requires discipline and it's not easy. It's really
Yes.
not.
I remember early in my career when I was really I was questioning my choices, like, oh my gosh, do I really want, like, this is hard work. And I was talking to somebody, and I said, I prefer being up here. I like to be with the angels and the guides, and like I like to hang out in this world, and that feels great to me. And I don't really like being in the body much. I didn't like my body. My body was uncomfortable because being a sensitive, clairsentient person, I would feel the pain and the emotional pain of everybody. And so I was like, as soon as I could escape and get out of it, I would. And the guy said to me, he said, well, but do you believe that you're here on purpose or for purpose? And I said, well, yeah, of course. And he goes, so do you think that if you're on the planet in a body on purpose, that maybe you're supposed to stay in it? And I'm like, hmm, I don't know. I don't really like the answer that's coming to me, which is, yeah, that actually makes sense, because I could be in the spirit world without the body and have all the experiences and still grow, but I chose to be here. And so what that did, and this was, I was in my, because I started this career in my late 20s. So this was my very early 30s in the very beginning. And what I recognized is that what spirit was really inviting me to do is, number one, love myself and love my body and the physical body, not just the, like the way it looked, being overweight, all the things that I'd struggled with throughout the years, but more of like being in it and staying in it. And as I started recognizing that, then what happened was I started shifting into what I would say is I'm a very grounded medium. I'm not airy fairy. I'm not checked out. I'm not, I mean, for sure I believe it all, and I can be as woo woo as you can get, but I look on the outside to be pretty normal. And that's because of that grounded state that conversation directed me into. It helped me align with something I was missing. And maybe that would be helpful for some of you that are watching that are like, oh yeah, I get that.
I mean, I'm listening to you and I go, yeah, I can take even something from that conversation too. I mean, you make a really good point that you could do everything that you need to do in the other world. So you showed up, you signed up, let's do it.
Yeah. And let's do it like present in it
Yeah.
instead of trying to escape it. And, we escape it for lots of reasons. But when we become aware that if I'm out here and I'm teaching and I'm speaking and I'm sharing from this perspective of the spirit and the body, then it would probably be beneficial and make sense that I be very grounded and aware in it to be
Yeah.
able to serve those that align with that message.
Sunny, you talk about reclaiming practice. This is a beautiful, or reclaiming presence, pardon me. It's a beautiful practice that you teach. Can you kind of walk the listeners through what that actually looks like in their daily life? How does that help them stabilize their connection to spirit, to angels, to their ascended masters?
I think when we talk about reclaiming presence, what it's really about is it's about getting our energy stable and grounded first and foremost. When someone is present in their body, when they are regulating their nervous system, when they are drinking enough water and going to sleep and getting the sleep they need, and all of those things, your body becomes more steady. And when your body is more steady, it's safer to be in it.
Mm,
When it's safer to be in it, you have more presence, more awareness. So the reclaiming presence practice is really just helping people to see what they can do to anchor in that physical external connection into their to their internal or inward connection. And what that does is it really changes everything. So there's lots of ways to call us into presence. To me, it's not so much about the ways that you do it, it's about the intention
mm,
and the decision to do it every day, right? So for me, I start every morning and I have a little process that calls me into presence, and so mine is like a 5-step process. The first thing I do is I meditate every morning. Sometimes it's 3 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes, depends on the day. Then I call in my angels, and I call in my angels because that's where I started, and that's what has throughout my life been my connection point. And when I call in the angels, I invite specifically Archangel Michael as a sensitive person to help me to manage and maintain my energy so I don't absorb the energy of others. It's a
yeah.
very strong intention for me. Then I do a little practice and I open my arms and I make a statement. It changes all the time, but it's something to the effect of I'm open to receive for my highest and greatest good. Because for me, receiving was always really challenging. And what I recognized is I could not be a present person if I wasn't willing to receive that presence and receive those messages and receive that energetic connection. The fourth thing that I do is I ask spirit, how may I serve? Every single day, I open myself to be of service, and how may I serve today? And then the last thing I do when I get out of bed is I just say thank you. I think thank you is the
Mm.
greatest prayer we can offer. And so for me, that's my practice of really pulling myself into presence to be ready for the day ahead, whatever that's going to look like. But some people, it might be, feeling your feet on the ground. Some people, it might be going outside and getting grounded. Some people, it might be pulling into their heart. I think that can shift and change. But I do think we need to have some kind of consistent practice that we show up in so that spirit recognizes and that we recognize our connection together.
I love that. And what you're talking about is something that is really simple. It just requires commitment from people.
Yes.
But also, too, you're being proactive, not reactive. So you're taking care of business before your feet hit the ground. You're overstimulated and bombarded by other people's energy, collective energy. That's how you're having longevity in this work. I'm sure that's how you're being able to sustain the work at the level that you do, Sunny.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've gone through a lot of health issues throughout the years, and at the age I'm going to be 55 in a couple of weeks, at the age that I'm at, I am probably the healthiest I've ever been because I've gotten much more consistent with my practice
Mm,
and much more intentional with creating as much calm in the body as I can. Now, that practice I've done for 28 years. This is not a new thing. But what I have recognized is that, getting into this consistent practice where you are grounded and where your nervous system is as calm as it can be for where you are in your life, because we have seasons. And I still have nervous system work to do. Like, it doesn't just all of a sudden heal. Like, I'm one of the people that will say, hey, you really need to rest, but I'm not great at resting, right? So we find we all have our things that we're working on. But I think when we really start to get into alignment with our spirit and our guidance, and we start our day that way. And I love that you said that, because so many people, once they feel the energy that they took on, now they want to do something. Well, now
Yeah.
it's yours. Now not only do you have to do something to not take on any more energy, but you have to clear the energy that you've taken on. But if you start your day that way, it's like then your glasses are on, your eyes are open, and you're much more, and you've already asked for help. So you're much more present to the energy as it comes, versus that it grabs on and you go down the spiral for 2 hours or 2 days, and then you're like, ah, shit, here we go. Right? It's a completely different experience.
You work with the angels, and that is a very unique working relationship. There's people that work with people's departed loved ones, ascended masters. What are the angels wanting to share with the collective right now? We've got so much stuff that's going on. What would your angels be wanting to whisper a message to listeners right now about their energy? And what would they want them to feel, to remember right now?
The message that I've received, it's been on and off throughout my life, but it's been very constant since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
And that message has been love.
Mm,
And what would love look like in this situation? What would love look like in this conversation? What would love look like? And and love doesn't always look airy fairy, easy peasy. Love looks like hard conversations. Love looks like communicating things that are difficult to communicate. Love looks like standing up for yourself. Love looks like boundaries. That's, I think, our idea. And so I think that it's really the guidance has always been love yourself first, because you can't love outside of you if you don't love inside of you. And
mm,
so that's been the number one focus. And then the other thing that's been very consistent, and it's likely because it's a human trigger of mine, is the judgment and the separation and the division that happens. That's a big trigger for me in my own humanness, because that's what I experienced when I started doing this work. And this isn't the first go round, right? So
yeah.
I think that the message that they have brought in is really shining your light and being a lighthouse.
Mm,
And that lighthouses don't go out and rescue, they shine the light for people to find it themselves.
yeah.
And that's been a good reminder, and challenging at times when there's the human part that's like, okay, no, I want to fix this, or I want to make this better. And recognizing that a lot of times our journey, I know for me, my role is to be the lighthouse and to just shine the light, to remind people of the light within themselves in moments when maybe they do get judgmental, or they do have a hard time, or they do shut down, or they do disconnect, or what have you, and that the light's always there. And but we don't go jump in and save people, because then the light's out for everyone else.
Absolutely. What a beautiful reminder. And a timeless message, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't, the messages from the angels are the same as they have been since the 80s when I started working with them. It doesn't change. The life experience, the human experience, we can put on different lenses and we can choose to see it in different ways. It's never changed.
And that's when you know you're really receiving from the divine, because it is something that doesn't have an expiry date on that message, and just continues to minister to the souls that hear those messages. Sunny, can you tell our listeners what you have up and coming, where they can find you, and everybody? The information will be in the show notes.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'm now the CEO of the School of Light. So I've had my own personal brand for 25 years. And last year I decided it's time to start helping other people get their messages heard out in the community. We have lots of different classes in the School of Light. It's a free community, so you can come and join and get a lot of free resources. And there's classes that you can sign up for and certifications and all different kinds of things like that. So I usually do a free webinar about every 6 weeks or so. So that's probably the thing that the listeners could check out if they feel guided to as well. That information is always on the calendar. That's right. So that, if it's a lot of it's around intuition or connecting with your loved ones or grounding yourself, maintaining your energy is a huge topic. So there's so much content there, and it's not just me. It's really, I have some amazing teachers that teach on anything and everything. So because we are spirit beings in this human experience, and so the spiritual aspects matter, and so do the human aspects. And so this is kind of the bridge between the two.
I love that. What a beautiful community that is helping people at every avenue on their journey. Something that's actually going to help people, not just
Right.
connect, but support their human life too.
Yeah, that was the intention for sure. Oh my gosh, are you serious? This is what I'm going to do now after 25 years? Yep, that's it. So I'm here listening.
Sunny, it's been so amazing to have you on the show to share your love, your light, your wisdom with my listeners. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Courtney. It was beautiful. Thank you for having me.
The Connected Spirit isn't just a podcast, it's a remembering of who we are, a remembering of our connection to spirit, and a remembering that we are never walking this path alone. Mediumship isn't just about speaking with spirits. It's about deepening the connection to our own spirit, to one another, and to the energy that moves through everything. So as you leave this space, ask yourself, what part of this conversation stirred something within you? What connection is spirit inviting you to strengthen? If this episode spoke to you, please share it, leave a review, and connect with me on Instagram at Medium Courtney Dawson, or visit my website at mediumcourtneydawson.com. Your presence in this community matters because connection isn't just about what we seek, it's what we are. Until next time, trust your spirit, trust the unseen world, and trust that you are always, always connected.